Rovers back in action this coming weekend as they take on nearest and dearest Preston North End. Can we get the better of them this time around? We're going to get into it, all of it, next. That's right, folks, back once again with another preview video. Today we're looking forward to a bit of a Northwest crunch clash. That is Preston North End up against Blackburn Rovers over at Deepdale. And we'll get to that in a second. If you're new, where you been? Smash your subscribe button. You want to stop shop for Blackburn Rovers Championship World Football. We're going to all hear under Waruski. That's right. Of course, the Nobbers were in action this past midweek with a late night thriller and penalties going through to the Cup. Rovers still bouncing off that big win against Bristol City this past weekend. But all eyes on Deepdale this week as we look forward to it coming at you on Sunday. Anyway, big shout out again to the patrons and the members. Big shout out to Stephen Brayley for joining the gang. Welcome to the membership hood. If you want to check out the links down below, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all that kind of jazz. But we are talking about this, guys, and it is Preston North End up against Blackburn Rovers coming at you over at Deepdale. Oh, yes. Let's take a look at the, of course, recent run of events between these two sides as we look back since 2001. Wow. Preston have won 8 of those 20 that we have played. 7 wins for Rovers, just 7 wins and 5 draws. Now, the biggest win for both sides are 4-1s over each other. Rovers have scored more goals than that of Preston in those 20 matches, averaging 1.65 goals a game on average compared to the 1.60 goals a game on average. Meanwhile, Preston are on 58% form for them at the moment over the last 5. They do come into this, I believe, on the back of a draw. That was Middlesbrough. We're not really counting the penalty shootout victory over Fulham, are we? But if we are, 58% form for them heading into this one. Rovers, just 1 defeat in the last 6, 67% form for them at the moment. That 1 defeat was in the Cup against Blackpool. Yeah, so let's take that with a pinch of salt, shall we? Let's take a look then at the recent run of events between these two sides. I could technically squeeze in on the image here, but it's too early. Anyway, over the last 6, whether it's at Deepdale or Ewood, it's been 2 wins, 2 defeats, and 2 draws. That's right. With Rovers without a win in 4, it looks like. Heading into this one, of course, back-to-back. Well, not back-to-back losses, but I haven't picked up a win since we beat Preston on their own turf back in April 2022 with a big 4-1 win over the hosts, with Gallagher scoring, Buckley, Lenihan, and Travis. The most recent game being a 2-2 draw back in Feb 2024. I think that might have been under Eustace, if my mathematics is correct. Meanwhile, the last 6. At Deepdale is a bit more favourable in a way. We're actually unbeaten against Preston at their very venue, unbeaten in the last 4. So with Preston's last victory against us back in October 2019 on their own turf, they have a better, more recent rub of the green at Ewood. But let's take a look at the last 10 then, shall we, under the microscope. And as you can see, Rovers unbeaten in the last 4 against them, according to my data. And then we did have a real bad patch right here with some defeats under our names there. So we'll see how we get on this time around. Hopefully we can get back to winning ways and hopefully rectify some of these recent blips against Preston. Let's take a look then at the values of the teams. And North End coming at you with 44.7 million euros of squad value compared to 53.31 of Rovers. We have a better own market value, whatever that means. We have a better age as well, 26. I think average market. I think it's average. I think I've just figured that out. How many years have we been doing this? Better average. So the average player for Rovers is 2 million euros. Whereas this average player for Preston is 1.5 million euros. That's a good stat right there. 26.3 is the average age, as the days of the youngsters or the youngest team in town are gone. We have the same amount of national players. We have the same amount of youth national team players, and the foreigners, they have more than us. Let's take a look then, shall we, at the managers under the microscope. A new manager on the scene, Paul Heckingbottom, good coach. This is a key. We'll come back into that graphic in a minute. Key sort of point in his career, Paul Heckingbottom. There are certain managers that fit certain clubs. Now, I thought Paul Heckingbottom did a pretty decent job at Sheffield United. He is Yorkshire through and through. Now, this is, of course, a chance for him to prove to be a guy that can adapt become a championship manager overall. You know, look at Chris Wilder. Kind of fails wherever else he goes. Can't really cut the mustard except for Sheffield United. Look at Nathan Jones, of course, a success at Luton Town. And yeah, he's doing all right at Charlton right now, but that's of course a step downwards. So certain managers can seem to adapt to different environments. Daniel Farker being one, Norwich, now Leeds. Eustace is doing a good job as well at the moment, Birmingham, and now Rovers. So can Paul Heckingbottom make a career out of it elsewhere? So that's, you know, I've always had that question mark with Paul Heckingbottom, and he's doing all right so far with them. Currently, he has a 1.43 points per match success rate. That's across his career, compared to that of John Eustace, 1.50 points per match. His record against Rovers is pretty stellar. Again, the majority, if not all, of those games coming at you from Sheffield United. He's got he's won 5 of the 6 games he's managed against us, picking up 2.5 points per match, and his record against Eustace also pretty savvy, picking up 2 points a match as well. If you flip it around, Eustace's record against Preston isn't the greatest, just 1 point per match on average, and again, if not the greatest record against Heckingbottom for the time of recording. But let's take a look then at the squads. Then we're going to start with the host, and this is Preston North End. And as you can see, they've got a good goalkeeper, Freddie Woodman. I rate him quite highly, one of the top 8, top 5 goalkeepers in the league. I would put him up there. Jack Watmore solid at the back. Patrick Bauer not been the player of old, but he's still solid. Liam Lindsay also a bit of a player as well. Then we go to their forwards and their midfielders. Of course, Ryan Ledson with that crucial penalty this past week. Dwayne Holmes can score goals. Josh Bowler, a thorn in our side in recent years. Sam Greenwood, we'll talk about him in a minute. And up top, the likes of Osamanovic, Will Keane still there, signing the contract and sticking it out. This is my expected lineup for Preston North End. We've got Freddie Woodman between the sticks. We've got Hughes at left back. We've got Watmore, Story, and then Brad Potts. McCann and Whiteman in those defensive midfield slots. We've got Ockles, Frokja Jensen, Sam Greenwood, and Emil Rees Jakobsen up top. Let's take a look at, of course, the Blackburn Rovers coming at you with some decisions to be made across the board, which is, a nice thing for Mr. Eustace to have. But the likelihood is Ainsley Pears will remain between the sticks, following on from his clean sheet against Bristol City. Then, of course, some decisions at the back. Caden Carter and, well, actually, Danny Bath, Dom Hyam were in the fold last time around. Callum Britton, of course, was not available on the right-hand side. So, decisions to be made. But, again, a nice headache for Eustace. Into midfield, we're likely to see Tronstad and Travis in there. Baker had a debut as well last weekend. Tom Cantwell come on from the bench. And up top, the likes of Okahashi scored a couple of goals. But will he start? Well, he can be a super sub if needed. But it's not my decision to make. It is, of course, John Eustace's decision to make. Now, this is the lineup I have gone with. I've gone with Pears, Owen Beckett, left back, Danny Bath, alongside Dom Hyam. We've got Hayden Carter, Tronstad, Lewis Travis, Tyree Stone, and Lewis Baker, Ryan Hedges, and Mac De Gay back in the fold, following on from his red card against Burnley. Let's take a look then at the key men, or the most valuable players for both sides. We have Sam Greenwood. Is he actually a Preston North End player, or is he a Leeds player on loan? I don't know if they completed that deal. I think it might have been a loan. But regardless, we have got Tom Cantwell. He is signed, sealed, delivered, and he is a Rovers man, at least to June 2027. It doesn't look like it's a loan because of the contract here does expire at 2025. But Cantwell's the main man there, of course, the face of the place for the next few years. Let's take a look then at the key individuals then for Preston. On the left-hand side, we've got Jordan Story, been one of the best defenders for them. Will Keane as well, scoring goals. Doesn't get in my starting 11. Meanwhile, for Rovers, no more Sammy Smosh. He's gone, but Yuki Hashi taking over the reign there with a couple of goals. Owen Beck's been phenomenal. And of course, the hard-working midfielder, Tronstad, and Travis doing bits as well. So take a look at the stats then. On average, 6.7 for each player for Preston compared to the 6.94 of Rovers. They have scored just 3 goals in the 5 matches so far, but conceded 9, which is something Rovers can hope to take benefit from. Meanwhile, Rovers have gone a bit also a bit sloppy at the back. 6 goals conceded and also scored 12. And as we look down the stats here, yet to hit the woodwork. Either side, averaging 3 corners a game. Rovers 3.6 corners per game. And again, we've got a couple of header goals, a couple of right foot goals, a couple of lefties as well. So we're scoring goals, which is good. They're averaging a slightly more possession than we are, 45 to our 43.8. They have 1 clean sheet, so do we. And of course, we have one red card, and so do they. 49.7 duels won per game compared to our 51.2. Also better on the ground in regards to duels, but they are better in the air, according to that stat as well. So tight game, but let's break those numbers down a little bit more and see where of course we prefer to attack and such. Let's start with Preston. When in possession, they prefer the left-hand side to the right. And of course, when in possession, they have 44% of their possession kept in that middle third, 31% in their own third. As for Rovers, we prefer the left also to the right. And then once again, we have kind of similar mirror imaged, if you like, possession stats. So it's going to be a chess match, you would say, at Deepdale. Let's take a look then at the shot directions. Again, pretty evenly split down the left and the right, but of course, most often shots coming down the middle. And when, of course, they do fire the trigger, 58% of the time is in the 18-yard box. As for Rovers, we prefer the left slightly to the right, and overwhelmingly so down the middle. And 65% of our shots are in the 18-yard box, with 31% long-range cookies. And in reception of shots, Preston 11% of the time coming from the right, 8% down the middle, with 61% of all shots received are in the box, compared to Rovers, where we have 56% shots down the middle, 30% down the left. So maybe that's a weak area of ours. And 46 long-range cookies, 46% in the 18-yard area. So that's, of course, the shots and stats. What about the goals? Well, Preston's all three goals this season have come from open play. Rovers have got 9 of theirs, 12 from open play, 3 counterattacks. And goals conceded, open play, 7 for Preston, 1 set piece, 1 penalty. And Rovers, 4 from open play and 2 set pieces. Nothing conceded from a penalty yet, or even a counter attack. Take a little look then at the form heading into this one. Of course, Preston on the back of that so-called win against Fulham. It was a penalty. It was a long night. Of course, back-to-back draws, you could say, and then a 3-1 loss against Oxford, with their last win against Huddersfield Town in the Cup, and their last win, I think their only win in the league, against Luton way back at the 24th of August. Rovers on the back of that 3-0 win over Bristol City. Our only official losses against Blackpool in the Cup. Yeah, it was a bad day at the office. I've got to admit, we don't think we were up for it. We don't think we were ready for it. But regardless, we crashed out. Anyway, what can we expect from the game? Well, Preston's strengths are aerial duels. We spotted that. They prefer to come down the wings as well in attack. Their weaknesses: possession of the ball, keeping hold of it, set pieces, avoiding fouling in dangerous areas, avoiding long shots or defending long shots, and defending against through balls. Their style of play is coming down the left-hand side, taking a lot of long shots, long balls, aggressive, playing in their own half, and they rotate their first 11. As for Rovers, our strengths: finishing scoring chances, counter-attacks, coming back from losing positions, creating long shot opportunities, stealing the ball from the opposition. Keeping possession of the ball is their weakness, avoiding offside and defending set pieces. We did see that against Derby. Style of play is long balls. We come through the middle and we're very aggressive, and we do play in our own half. The forecast says Rovers will score from a long shot. There will be a high number of cards, and Blackburn will steal the ball from the opposition often. Well, that's that. What about the situation in the table? We'll have a look at it. Here it is in all its glory. Rovers are in third. A win, we could go top, depending on what goes on elsewhere. And again, we'll figure all that out before kickoff, because we are on Sunday and everyone else is on Saturday or Friday. The Nobbers are down there in 21st spot right now. They could be in the drop zone as well if everything goes against them. But it's going to be an interesting weekend in action in the Championship. Here are those games. We start with Stoke City, who are looking like they're going to have a new manager this week. If not, it's already confirmed. I don't know. Hull City could be the next to pull the trigger, with Tim Waltner in a bit of hot bother right now. Then the early kickoffs on Saturday: QPR, Millwall, Sunderland, Middlesbrough. Bit of a local affairs for both of those. Norwich against Watford, and then into the late or the normal games, the 3 p.m. games: Sheffield United against Derby, Burnley against Pompey, Luton against Wednesday, Cardiff City against Leeds. We have the Baggies against Green Army, Plymouth, Bristol City against Oxford, and then Coventry against Swansea. But the game of the weekend will be at Deepdale as Preston host Blackburn Rovers. Before we bounce out of here, quick look at the goal scoring charts. We have a name up there, and his name is Yuki Ohashi. He's got himself 4 goals to his name, and he's looking pretty fantastic as well. Look at Mac Gay up there with 3 assists as well. So good to have him back in the mixer this weekend. And the most aggressive players, we've got Forshaw up there for Plymouth with 2 yellows and a red. Liam Lindsay's up there with a yellow and a red. And then Travis got 3 yellows already to his name, of course. But then it all boils down to this, folks. What do I expect from the game? Well, what do I expect? I think it's going to be a close game, chess match, like I said earlier. It could peter out and be a bit of a damp squib of a draw, and I would take that. I would, but I just think Rovers have got something in a bit between their teeth at the moment, and we've got to take these opportunities while they're here. If we are going to fizzle out towards the end of the season or middle of the season, then we need to get as many points as we can, and I think this is a great time to play Preston. They're still finding their feet under Heckingbottom, and I don't know. The jury's still out on Heckingbottom. He could be good, he could be bad, he could be ugly, but I think Rovers will get something from this game. I'll put it down to that. But I am going to stick my neck out and go with a 2-1 win for Rovers. And we're scoring goals, they're leaking goals, they're not scoring goals, so I'll give them a benefit of the doubt and have a goal, but I think Rovers will score more. So 2-1 in the end for me on this one. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. We look forward to this game, hopefully you are too, but until then, subscribe, smash the like, catch you later, but until then, we are done.